For 2 days, Osaka is the center of the political atlas. The leaders of the world's 20 largest economies flying in for what promises to be a stressful program. Small talk is sure to be drowned out by U.S. President Donald Trump's heavy footsteps as he continues his campaign of America First. The trade war he started with China will dominate discussions, though few expect talks between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday to result in a truce.
The trade relations between China and the US are difficult. They are contributing to the slowdown of the global economy.
The Trump administration has also ramped up pressure on Iran. Withdrawing from the nuclear deal was just the beginning. New sanctions and threats of war followed. All of that has the attention of those here.
Jonathan Ive, Apple's chief design officer, is leaving the company he helped shape after almost 3 decades. While the news has shocked the entire tech industry, some say Ive has been as important to making Apple what it is today as the company's co-founder, the late Steve Jobs.
Jonathan Ive once said the computer industry is creatively bankrupt. Of course, he was referring to the boring grey computers, screens and floppy disks back in the day. Together with Steve Jobs, he sought to make tech colourful and fun. He developed the iMac in 1988, which helped kick off a spectacular comeback for the ailing company. Just a few years later, the British designer created the iconic design of the iPod. Ive's departure comes at a time when Apple finds itself at a crossroads. iPhone sales are falling, and Apple is turning away from hardware to focus on its services business, which includes Apple Music and iCloud.
The Morandi bridge collapse killed 43 people, and its remains have haunted the residents of the Italian city of Genoa until today. After months of planning and tests, the structure was finally demolished in a matter of seconds.
Two enormous support towers come crumbling down, and the city of Genoa says good riddance to the Morandi bridge. A structure that shattered the lives of so many, now itself entirely in pieces. The spectacular demolition was over in a matter of minutes, but planning for this day had taken many months. The controlled collapse is in contrast to what happened in August of last year. During a violent storm, middle sections of the motorway came down suddenly. 40 vehicles fell 50 metres to the ground. 43 people were killed.
Boarding this London-bound train, 36-year-old Darren Pencil, who just minutes later would be involved in a deadly confrontation with a fellow passenger. That man, IT consultant Lee Pomeroy, boarded shortly after, along with his 14-year-old son. It's just after 1 p.m. on the 4th of January this year. Almost immediately, Darren Pencil and Mr. Pomeroy were involved in a heated argument as the train pulled out of Guildford Station. Pencil accusing Lee Pomeroy of blocking the aisle, according to witnesses. Moments later, the argument turned violent. In images shown to the jury but too graphic to be released publicly, the victim is seen being stabbed 18 times in just 25 seconds. The defendant's girlfriend, Chelsea Mitchell, is also on trial but denies assisting an offender. Darren Pencil admits possessing a knife but has pleaded not guilty to murdering Lee Pomeroy.
A passenger has filmed the shocking moment their plane crashed off a runway and into a sewage plant in Russia. 2 pilots were killed as the aircraft burst into flames, but somehow all 43 passengers and remaining crew survived.
Approaching the runway, all was on track for a textbook emergency landing. This passenger filming from his window seat as the Angara Airlines flight touched down in Russia. But it skidded, overshooting the runway, and then this. The twin turboprop Antonov 24 smashed into a sewage treatment plant and exploded into flames. Crew members helping passengers as they scrambled to escape. The pilot and technician were killed, 7 others were injured. It's believed one engine failed shortly after takeoff from Siberia, forcing what should have been a routine emergency landing.
The latest this morning, police tell Fox News that the owner of a home not far from here has been identified as a person of interest. Police are not publicly naming this person of interest, but his name and his background is readily known to a lot of people around here, including his neighbors. Investigators and detectives executed a warrant on the home and removed all types of evidence. Aerial video even shows investigators digging in the backyard. Police are also intensely focused on finding a mattress that this person of interest apparently gave away online. The theory here is that missing Mackenzie Lueck might have ended up at this house, or someone related to her disappearance did. The owner of the home, the person of interest, runs a very active, busy Airbnb. People say that there's always people coming and going from this house. So far, missing Mackenzie Lueck's cell phone has not been recovered. Rather eerie, her Instagram account suddenly showed activity less than 48 hours ago. Her account started following another one.
Major new headline after the massacre in Parkland, Florida tonight. 2 more sheriff's deputies have now been fired for neglect of duty. The sheriff says it cost the lives of 17 people that day. A total of 4 officers now let go because of what they did not do that day. And tonight here, the police body cam and what it shows.
The Broward Sheriff's Office says Deputy Josh Stambaugh's own body cam video seen here shows neglect of duty. While the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was unfolding, he's shown putting on his bulletproof vest, then taking cover for 5 minutes as shots ring out. Prosecutors say instead of confronting the gunman, he got back in his truck and drove to a nearby highway. Tonight, Deputy Stambaugh is out of a job, along with Deputy Edward Eason, who the department says ran away from the gunfire. The 124-page internal affairs report released 17 months after 17 students and staff were murdered on Valentine's Day. 4 deputies have now been fired since the shooting, including school resource officer Scott Peterson.
It's one of our oldest cold cases. A teenage beauty queen dragged off the street and murdered. Now, nearly 50 years on, there's hope it will finally be solved. Police offering $1 million reward for a breakthrough in the case.
Bronwyn was dragged into a car from Smollett Street in Albury that evening in October 1973. The 17-year-old was driven to bushland, sexually assaulted, strangled and left to drown. In 2014, Colin Newey was extradited to Sydney and charged with Bronwyn's abduction, assault and murder. But at the last moment, prosecutors dropped the charges because they thought the case was too weak.
Police do have a suspect in this case, but what they lack is the critical evidence to charge him. Now they hope this $1 million reward will finally get this case across the line.
Mark Burrows, 9 News.
These are already among the worst fires in Spain's Catalonia region for 20 years. And the heat wave has only just begun. Firefighters are warning the burning area could get 5 times as big. They're doing what they can to douse the flames. Away from the flames, the heat is more nuisance than danger. In Madrid, a little cooler at 39 Celsius, people tried to stay hydrated, stay protected, or just took it easy. But forecasters suggest it won't get cooler till early next week. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera.